What's up guys, my name is Spartan, and we are back with another tier list video. This is going to be another sort of part 2 video to my original modules tier list, but the criteria that I'll be rating these by is a little bit different. So instead of just, quite frankly, my opinion and what I think across all stages of the game, I got a lot of feedback on that tier list video, really wanting me to sort of dial it back and talk about like early game, mid game, late game, etc., as well as have separate lists for particular types of builds like EHP, hybrid, glass cannon, etc. So, that being said, the criteria for this particular tier list video will basically be what I personally think are the best overall modules for the early stages of the game. All the way from if you're like brand new to the game, or if you're up to maybe farming like tier 11, tier 12. All of that would, for the most part, encompass kind of the earlier stages of the game. So that is going to be what this criteria is based off of. And before we go any further, I would like to say a huge thanks to our video sponsor for today, which is LD Cloud. You guys can see that's currently the emulator that I am using for my game here. So you can see my game here. This is what LD Cloud's interface looks like, but more on that a little bit later on into the video. I do want to make one thing clear in terms of the sponsorship. I did a lot of research and digging into a lot of companies that have been reaching out to me, and I ended up landing on LD Cloud because it just seems like the most reputable overall. And I actually have been using the product over the past like 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's been great. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the tier list. The criteria that I have is cream of the crop, which is basically the best of the best for the early stage of the game. Pretty good, which means generally pretty good across most use cases. Middle of the road is kind of just impartial. You know, it's decent, it's not bad, it's not terrible, but it's just kind of the middle of the road. Then we have not that great, which again would mainly be for what most people are doing in the earlier stages of the game, which predominantly will be EHP, by the way. There are some that try to do glass cannon from the start, but it is definitely far from advised. EHP is definitely optimal for the earlier stages of the game. But anyway, after that we have throw it in the trash tier. You guys already know what that one means. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then we have a special little category down here, which is basically niche. Whether it's like just good for one particular thing, or if it's just very, very little overall usage. Those type of modules will end up in the niche category. Let's go ahead and begin our list here with Astral Deliverance. So Astral Deliverance is really good overall. I don't think it's going to be quite cream of the crop, but I think it is, like I said, really good overall. We will put Astral Deliverance in... We'll put it in pretty good tier. Yeah, we'll do that. And one last thing in terms of the actual list, just like my other lists that I've done, anything, let's say that I have 2 Astral Deliverances, I just realized that. Let's say that there's 2 modules here, whichever one is closest to the category name would basically be the ranking of the modules for that particular category. So if we have Death Penalty and Pretty Good, the current ranking would be Astral Deliverance is the best in the pretty good category, then the second Astral Deliverance, and then the Death Penalty, basically. So that's the way that I like to do tier lists, but yeah. With that, let's go ahead and do the other Astral Deliverance. I think it is probably throw it in the trash, which actually I need to do. I need to figure out how to just delete this. It won't let me delete it, but I just moved it to the back of the list, so out of sight, out of mind. Let's talk about Death Penalty. Death Penalty is definitely really, really good in terms of tournaments and also earlier game milestone pushes. I don't think it's quite going to be cream of the crop, but I think it is going to be pretty good. And we'll put it behind Astral Deliverance just for the reason that you wouldn't want to farm with Death Penalty. That's literally the only reason. Next on the list is going to be Being Annihilator. This is, I feel like this is going to be pretty similar to the other one that I did, but I'm not a huge fan of Being Annihilator or Havoc Bringer, spoiler alert, so we're going to put it in, we'll put it in middle of the road, actually, because quite frankly, both of these, they are decent. Being Annihilator and Havoc Bringer, both of them are decent overall, but I don't know, they just don't bring a whole lot to the table compared to some of the other cannons, especially for the earlier game. So I think middle of the road, if you have them, great, and you can use them, it's not going to hurt you, but overall, there's just better options that you could use. Next on the list is going to be the Shrink Ray, aka the Stink Ray. This one, I think, is going to fall in the niche category, simply for the reason that the mass in general is not that big of a deal for most builds. Like, even if you're running just a strict EHP build where you want them to all be around your tower, you're not really going to care about the mass of the enemies because you're going to be doing percentage-based health damage. So Shrink Ray, I mean, it really just applies, I believe, in terms of like knocking back the enemies. If the enemy's mass is reduced, that will basically make the impact of knockbacks a little bit higher. So if you're doing a strict blender build and you just don't want to keep the enemies at your tower at all, that's fine. But if you're doing like a Devo style build, I wouldn't see a world where you would want to take this module, which is why we'll have it in the niche category. Next on the list is going to be Amplifying Strike. Amplifying Strike, on the original tier list, I had it on S tier, Cream of the Crop. But I think in terms of this one, we're going to put it in pretty good, and we're going to put it below Death Penalty. It is really good, but it does have a contingency behind it, and that's why I don't think it's as good as these other two. Like Astral Deliverance, you get some added value from the crowd control by just keeping the enemies away from your tower, basically with the extra bounce shot range, a lot of value there. But then obviously Death Penalty for what we discussed earlier. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I said this at the start, but I'm going to have a little picture somewhere over here probably with what each module does. Before we continue, I want to thank today's video sponsor, which is LD Cloud. If you're serious about the tower idle tower defense, long farming sessions can really make or break your tower. And that's exactly why I try to farm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The issue is 24/7 active gameplay can really take a toll on your mobile device and computer as well. That is where LD Cloud comes in. LD Cloud is a cloud phone service that allows you to run the game directly on your PC or mobile device without compromising your hardware or breaking the bank with your electricity bill. And as you can see on the screen, I'm able to run 2 different instances at the same time. Both of my accounts are able to farm with ease whether I'm at home or on the go. Because the game runs in the cloud, you're not keeping your PC and phone powered on all day, which helps reduce the electricity usage and cuts down on wear and tear on your devices. I've tested other cloud phone solutions before, but LD Cloud definitely stands out with its stability, multi-instance support, and accessibility, especially for idle and grind-heavy games such as the Tower. LD Cloud offers flexible spending plans starting for as low as $9.99. I currently have the KVIP package here with an Android 10, and I'm out of the US server. If you want to try it out, use my link in the video description and you can get a 6-hour trial for as little as 10 cents. It directly supports this channel and helps me improve my content. And with that, let's get back to the video. And moving on here, let's go ahead and talk about the armors. So we just covered all of the cannons. Let's now discuss the armors, which are the square modules. Starting off here with Anti-Cube Portal. Anti-Cube Portal, it can be pretty decent, but in terms of the earlier stages of the game, I'm going to say that it's not that great. Not that great overall. It could probably be justified in the middle of the road category, just because, I mean, you can get by with it, but like I said, with being Annihilator and Havoc Bringer, there's just better options for the early stages of the game. Anti-Cube Portal in general is just not that great for the earlier EHP stages of the game, so we'll put it in not that great. And moving on, let's talk about Wormhole Redirector, aka, for the real ones that remember this from my very first Tour My Tower video, the Wormhole Regenerator. This one, I'm gonna say that this one is pretty good, but we'll put it at the top of pretty good overall. So just a fair warning, a lot of these armor modules are going to be really what make or break your tower for the most part in the earlier stages of the game. Simply for the fact that in the early stages of the game, when you're running EHP, you really need to value survivability. And Wormhole Redirector provides just that. It's super good overall, but I don't think it's quite cream of the crop, just because, like I said, once you unlock the wall, once you start sort of pivoting to other strategies, you really start to lose the value that you originally got from Wormhole Redirector. It is super good. Actually, we're going to put it in cream of the crop. I changed my mind. Because if you're a brand new tower and you've been playing for like less than 4 months and you have a Wormhole Redirector, likely an epic Wormhole Redirector would outperform a legendary Sharp Fortitude, a legendary Orbital Augment, really any of them. But yeah, once it starts getting into like Mythic and above, obviously you would probably want to use those instead. But earlier on, as soon as you unlock recovery packages, you just get so much value from Wormhole Redirector. So we'll put it in cream of the crop. It'll be the first one there. Next on the list is going to be Negative Mass Projector. This one, overall, we're just going to put, I think, in not that great. I think we'll actually put it behind Anti-Cube Portal because, yeah, it's not that great. Now moving on to Space Displacer. Space Displacer, I think we're going to say middle of the road. Overall, Space Displacer is a great source of crowd control, and it can also help you if you don't have inner landmines unlocked to basically complete the kill enemies with inner landmine mission. But outside of those two cases, it's not super great, but it is okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I would really use like ACP or Negative Mass Projector over Space Displacer. Yeah, we'll just put it in middle of the road. I think we will put it above the cannons because it has the crowd control element, which is very, very valuable as a new player. Next on the list is going to be Sharp Fortitude. Sharp Fortitude honestly has to be cream of the crop, and I think we're going to put it above Wormhole Redirector just because it's so good. You can see what it says on the screen here, but you get wall health, you get wall regen, and you get extra wall thorn damage, which is super great. And as I mentioned in my wall guide video, feel free to check that out if you'd like. This module has single-handedly made the early game easier. It reduced the requirements for basically unlocking the wall, and it's just super good. So I think it's going to be top of cream of the crop for the time being. Next is going to be Orbital Augment. Orbital Augment, in terms of the early game beginner players, I think it's going to fall in pretty good, and we'll put it above Death Penalty. You could definitely farm with it, and obviously like it's helpful for tournaments, but if you have it probably below Mythic, it's not all that great. It has very diminishing returns, but once you get it to Mythic or above, it's super good. So we'll just put it in pretty good for the time being. And that's going to cover it for all of the armors, and so far we don't have anything in Throw It in the Trash tier. Let's see if we can change that. Starting off with the generator modules, let's discuss Restorative Bonus. Restorative Bonus overall for the early game is pretty much just going to be not that great. Not that great overall. It's okay, especially if you have a lot of development early on in your attack speed, but more times than not, it's not really going to impact you that much comparatively to some of these other generators. So we'll put it in the bottom of not that great. Now moving on to Singularity Harness. This one actually is pretty good overall. Yeah, I mean, it's really good, especially once you start getting some development into your Golden Bot. And obviously for beginner players, it's not going to be that developed. So I think we're going to put Singularity Harness in probably middle of the road overall. We'll put it in the bottom of middle of the road. It's okay, but it's just not that great. Unless, like I said, your Golden Bot is super developed. Now moving on to Galaxy Compressor. Galaxy Compressor, I think for this one, just like we had it on the other tier list, we're going to put it in cream of the crop S tier. It's just so good. We're going to put it at the top of S tier for now. You get so much value from Galaxy Compressor. It's a game changer for your econ early on. And just the value that you get from having more ultimate weapon activations more frequently, it's a game changer, truly. Galaxy Compressor, personally, I might be a little bit biased here, but I think it's probably the overall best module in the game. Moving on to Pulsar Harvester. Pulsar Harvester is very good for tournaments and also milestone runs, but wouldn't really use it compared to some of these other ones in terms of just farming. So I think we'll put it in pretty good overall. Pretty good overall, and we'll put it behind Amplifying Strike. Now moving on to Black Hole Digester. Black Hole Digester is, yeah, I think it's also going to be pretty good overall. Pretty good, and we'll put it above Death Penalty, but below Orbital Augment. The coin gains that you get from Black Hole Digester, assuming that you have good development in all of your econ stuff, it is quite frankly unmatched. And eventually you get to a point where you want to sync up with your golden bot, and then ideally at that point you would kind of stop using Galaxy Compressor and just use Black Hole Digester. But when you do that, in theory, you would see a huge spike of coins. So we're going to put it in pretty good because it is, I think, overall the best econ generator in terms of just like sheer coin gains. Obviously, the reason that Black Hole Digester is here instead of here has to do with the cell income. So the reason that Galaxy Compressor is separated from Black Hole Digester is you get more Death Wave activations more frequently. And as you guys all know how I feel about Death Wave, I think Death Wave is one of the best ultimate weapons in the game. There, I said it. It checks all the boxes. You get damage, EHP, you get cells, and you get coins. There's just so much that Death Wave brings to the table. So I'm gonna give Death Wave, it's gonna be our first S tier, guys. That's it. I mean, it is what it is. You get cells from Death Wave. So more frequent Death Waves equal more frequent coins and more frequent cells. Last but not least, let's touch on project funding. This one overall is gonna be pretty niche. It's very strong once you get to the stage of like hybrid and glass cannon for tournaments, but this particular video is more focused towards like beginner players, so we'll put it in niche category. It's not quite throw it in the trash because it definitely provides value, especially once you start developing your damage and when you have like Chain Lightning, the ultimate weapon, things like that. But if you're not to that point yet, it's definitely in the niche category. Now let's talk about Ohm Chip. Ohm Chip is my favorite module in the game. I'm just kidding. But Tech Tree Games thinks this is my favorite module in the game. And I think for the purposes of the beginner players here, Ohm Chip's probably going to have to go and throw it in the trash. Honestly, it doesn't bring that much to the table for the early stage beginner players that are more than likely running an EHP build, maybe dipping into hybrid a little bit. But even if they are, their damage is not going to matter for the basically buff that you get from Ohm Chip. Now moving on to Dimension Core. Dimension Core is pretty interesting. Selfishly, I want to put it in cream of the crop, but I think in terms of newer players, it's probably going to fall under niche because not everybody has access to Chain Lightning that early. If you get Chain Lightning as like your second or third ultimate weapon, then it's going to instantly go up to pretty good. But for most people that are probably, at least hopefully, getting luckier than that and getting their econ stuff first, it's probably going to fall into not that great overall. But we'll put it at the top of not that great. Because if you do have Chain Lightning and you have even a little bit of development, this can be a game changer for your tournaments. But if you don't fall into that category, it's pretty much just not that great. Now moving on to Harmony Conductor. More than likely for the beginner players, it's going to be throw it in the trash. And we'll put it actually behind Ohm Chip. It's like more than likely these beginner players are not even going to have Poison Swamp, so it's not even going to matter. But mostly would be used for tournaments, but even so, there are better options available. Now let's talk about Multiverse Nexus. I think Multiverse Nexus for beginner players is cream of the crop. It is super valuable. Being able to just instantly just sync up your Golden Trinity, that is so valuable because then you don't have to save up for all three of your stone unlocks to get one more 10 seconds down on your cooldowns. You instead can just focus on, whichever one's the cheapest and just do one click here, one click there, And over time, that Multiverse Nexus sync time will drop. So Multiverse Nexus is really a cheat code for Econ, finding a pretty easy way to sync up your ultimate weapons, and that's super, super valuable in the early stages of the game. So we're going to put it in cream of the crop, but I think it is going to be the bottom of cream of the crop. Now moving on to Magnetic Hook. This one is also going to be throw it in the trash. Some inner landmine people that have builds that revolve around inner landmines, even they have told me in the comments of the last tier list video that I did that Magnetic Hook is in fact like a terrible module. So we're going to put it and throw it in the trash. It's just not that great. And last but not least, we have Primordial Collapse. Primordial Collapse is... oh man, this is so tough. It's honestly probably going to be cream of the crop. And I think it is going to be above... yeah, it's going to be above Multiverse Nexus. But cream of the crop above Multiverse Nexus, just for the fact that, number one, early on, if you get this module, you instantly go from 1 black hole to 2 black holes, which is fantastic. That's a huge econ boost. That's a huge crowd control boost. It's just super, super good. But also, the damage mitigation factor is super, super important as well. Even at epic level, getting whatever it is, like 50% damage mitigation, that is super, super valuable for EHP players. So I think Primordial Collapse is definitely going to be cream of the crop. Super, super good overall. I think that's going to be our list. I mean, I guess we can put this last Astral Deliverance in... we can put this last Astral Deliverance in cream of the crop tier just for the sake of having a cannon up there. But quite frankly, early on, the cannons are not really going to matter anyway. So ignore this. This will not let me put it back down here, but it's fine. But yeah, this is going to be the tier list, guys. This is going to be the module tier list for beginner players. Let me know what you think of this list down in the comments below. And if you stayed all the way to this point of the video, thank you so much. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel and leave a like on the video, and maybe it'll help out some people. But I hope that this was maybe valuable for some of you newer players. I know that it's challenging when you first start playing this game, and there's so many modules, right? And you're like, what the heck? I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what any of these do. I don't understand. But don't worry, guys. That's what I'm here for. I will try to give you the layman's terms, most simple explanation for all of this stuff. That's kind of what I've been trying to do on the channel. That's going to be a wrap for today's video. But if you are new to the channel, join our Discord server. We have a community Discord server full of people who love this game as much as I do. There are people all the way from just starting out to like literally top 10 players. So lots of value in the Discord server. We have tower resources. We have a mentor program where you can share your tower and get some really catered good advice. And yeah, if you're not already in the Discord, what are you doing? Get in there. Likewise, if you guys purchase anything for the tower, whether it be in the in-game app or the web store, please consider using my content creator code. My code is right here at the bottom right of the screen. It is code 300. Using my code directly supports me at no extra cost to you, and I greatly appreciate all of you guys who have used my code so far. And with that, that's going to be a wrap for today's video. But thank you guys so much for watching, and like always, I will see you guys later.